What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the B3 podcast. I'm your host, Brett. I got Chris, the artist formerly known as Heavy C. I got multiple injuries, Matt. I got Tanner, the head.
Is it surgery? I thought it was multiple surgeries, Matt. Or are we
They're both true.
Yeah, it's all true, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all the way from shoulders to wiener tips.
We were taking ideas for an acronym for the head, HEAD. If anybody has any, I'd like to throw down in the comments there.
We forgot our show partners in the last one.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you don't even say bullets, barbells, and barbecue anymore. You just say B3.
I thought I kind of fancied it up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
No?
You know.
I like
Yeah.
B3.
Yeah. You're voting against it if we're having a poll?
It's eventually going to be B cubed.
Well, the only one here having a poll is... Anyway.
Matt.
Anyway, we got our show partners, Elite Nutrition. Check them out at EliteNutritionOmaha.com. Use code B3 at checkout for 10% off. Go to the store in Omaha or Lincoln, yell B3.
Get a free shaker.
Hey, what's up with this punch card? You have time to talk to Steve?
Yeah, we'll have it done.
Do you guys have an OnlyFans?
Why are you rolling your eyes? This is fucking for real, dude. We're out here trying to advertise this shit. Trying to get customers to ride in that fucking Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's this energy drink you're drinking down here?
Gorilla Mind.
It's new. I've never seen one before.
Can we fire arrows at the Cybertruck?
Well, so I like this one, and I like Ghost because they don't use that freaking Cyanobolum sledge B12.
Anabolic steroids?
The poop?
Yeah, the sledge B12. Like, dude, if you don't want to know, it's kind of like how the sausage is made. Don't Google on how that shit's made.
I don't ever look at that.
Yeah, don't.
It's like when...
Because you'll never drink it again.
it's
So this one has a methylated B12. Ghost has methylated B12.
It was like last week when all the little media was talking about Trump working at McDonald's, and they're like, that McDonald's didn't pass its health code inspection last time, and I was like, I assume none of them do. I'm not going to McDonald's to tour the fucking kitchen before I order. Oh man, you believe how dirty that was? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. It's like when I go to a Chinese restaurant and your feet stick to the floor. I just assume that that's like a regular thing.
I bet you want the Chinese restaurant to have like the slippery oil floor.
Yeah, that's always better.
Fry everything.
Yeah.
You just don't want to go to a place that has a sign in the restroom that says, please flush twice. It's a long way back to the kitchen. You know, it's probably a red flag.
Also, probably not good.
I always flush twice.
Well, you have to.
We do the pre-wipe flush. Yeah.
Yep. Safety flush.
Anyway, we also have Rosewood Block. They make the best cutting boards and barbecue. Check them out at rosewoodblock.com. Use code B3 at checkout for 10% off there. I think if you order now, you probably will not get it by Christmas, I'm guessing.
No, probably January.
Is my guess anyway. But still worth the wait.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes. We're going to talk about guns because they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Chris bought a new one.
Chris did buy a new one.
I had that sweet FN 502 tactical that I couldn't get to work, so I traded it in for a Sig.
If you don't know, that's a 22 pistol.
Yeah. For a Sig P365 Legion.
Do you know that? You didn't know how to use the other one?
Yeah, that's what the problem was, Tanner. I was just not.
He was just dropping the round down the front.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says operator like a 22.
It was for, shooting rabbits in the backyard, but it didn't work out. So I moved on with my life. And I really like that new gun. I've never owned a Sig before, so it's pretty fancy.
Have you looked at getting a pellet gun for the rabbits?
I have one.
Have you been working it?
No.
What about those saw guns?
I have one of those too.
I have one of those. Those things work
awesome.
good. And you know what? They're fucking super accurate off the sights.
You use the sights, it'll drop a... Yeah.
I shot this fucking skeeter and it just fell and then it was on the step and I fucking point blanked it.
You shot a mosquito?
Yeah, it was on the wall. I'm not trying to get my paint all fucking stained up on the wall. So I shot it, dropped, and I just fucking put the barrel like right on it and just fucking boom. But no, it's super accurate. Except I shot this giant horsefly and it just like flew through it. Yeah. I assume that's like what it's like on PCP when you get tased.
You got to use the coarse salt. For the
I know. My dad gave me. He's like, this stuff's more aggressive.
Yeah. a little more knockdown power.
Is this meth?
Yeah, he's like he's giving me like hot loads, like slap rounds here. Like under the table, try this. But yeah, the BB gun. I've been dropping them fucking birds in the backyard.
We were also talking before the podcast how Brett needs to get out and shoot all the guns he has that he's never shot before.
It's on the 4th of July. Just go in the backyard, start ripping off.
Yeah, when are we going to your house to shoot and do all these reviews? We got to figure out when it is before it gets cold, like colder, like super cold. Yeah, we all have a plethora of guns.
It's true.
Brett's got a real nice set of guns that he hasn't shot. That Canik TTI.
I haven't shot that.
You haven't shot that yet?
No,
I haven't shot his.
I bought that fucking Jackal last year and I haven't shot it.
The Dagger Saber.
Got that one.
Hasn't shot the Jackal.
Yeah.
Well, he's got this bunch of sweet guns that he doesn't shoot.
I haven't shot the Canic that we made the video on putting the sight on. Yeah. Haven't shot that. Haven't shot the Shadow Systems, the War Poet one. Haven't shot that yet.
You've had that gun for a long. You haven't shot that?
I got a 4570 I haven't shot yet.
Those are miserable.
The 4570? Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it's like shooting fucking...
It's fucking hard.
Like man fingers out of it.
It's fucking rough.
Yeah. I try to get to the range once a week. I mean, you can't just be any geek off the street.
Oh,
you got to be handy with the steel.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You got to earn your keep.
Got to earn your keep.
Regular fucking Warren Gonad.
That's from... I'm not talking about that song. That's from Young Guns.
It is.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this? What's your review of this?
Of the Sig? I think it's probably one of the best shooting guns that I own. And I have a...
What makes it great?
Well, it's got a metal frame, so there's a little more weight to it, and it's a slimmer gun.
Does it have a bull barrel?
No. And it comes with a compensator.
Really short barrel.
Yeah, it comes with a compensator though, already on it. And it shoots, but I have a 19 that I put one of those Radian ramjets on, and with a light on it, I still think that Legion shoots better than that Glock 19 does.
So the recoil is pretty minimal.
Yes, very.
I've
minimal.
heard the Canics are really easy to shoot.
The Canics,
I've
they're
actually
really
never
lightweight.
shot one.
They're really lightweight. I have the Rival, the whiteout. It's kind of like a. It looked way like paper white on the internet, but it's like a cement color kind of.
It's a stormtrooper gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're really light, so they do jump around a little bit, but not bad. But that TTI Combat, I think, has the compensator on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
But no, I was really surprised at how well I liked this. I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't know I was going to like it this much. I've always been kind of a Sig hater too because of the 320 and how they would go off if you dropped them. So.
Because being part of the Glock clan, you're probably frowned upon.
Yeah. But I like it a lot. I would recommend it. It's kind of pricey for a striker fired pistol, you know.
Is there much difference between it and the X Macro other than the metal frame? And
I don't think there is really any difference other than the metal frame.
Like maybe a different trigger?
I don't think so.
Same trigger?
I think it's the same trigger.
Because that X Macro is like $600. Yeah. And it's ported.
How much was the
Legion's $1,050 or something, I think. Right,
like
as this
5-ish ounces more than the X Macro.
You can definitely feel the weight, but it fits in your hands so well.
I was really surprised. Like, have you guys gone to Handgun Hero? You can go there and you can pick whatever handgun you want. Pick two of them. It'll set them up side by side, give you their dimensions, capacity, and like all this stuff, and then it'll like physically overlay pictures on top, so you can like see how much bigger or smaller one is from the other. And so I was really looking at that because I liked that AXG or the Legion. Super cool, and I was like, I wonder if that's different than the X Macro, like different dimensions or something. Nope, same dimensions as the X Macro. I think that one's actually just a little bit thinner, maybe. But then the X Macro the X Macro and the Legion they're almost a full inch shorter on the barrel than that Shadow Systems MR920 that I have, and they're not any taller, so it's the same height, handle at the top. Plus, you get 2 more rounds, and it's got to be because they use metal magazines rather than the polymer like Glock 19 that Shadow Systems runs with. So that's kind of appealing. You get a shorter barrel, same size grip, 2 more rounds. That sounds nice.
Magazines are super heavy too, so I don't know if you ever shoot a lot of Glocks, if you shoot them for a while, the plastic gets kind of, I don't know. They say they're drop free, but they get kind of sticky after a while, and they don't. But those mags, since it's a metal slide or a metal frame with a metal mag, it just drops right out of there, real easy. So that's also another nice feature.
How are they like compared to like the metal 1911 mags? Always feel kind of janky.
They don't feel janky at all.
I don't know why the 1911s always. I'm sure I don't necessarily think they are janky, but they always feel.
I think you get a little more. You get some play in the spring, and it's audible. It's more sound. It makes more sound because of the metal shell that the spring sits in.
Which one?
The 1911s.
Oh, the 1911s.
I think metal.
I think all 1911 mags suck. I think that
they're just so thin.
Yeah,
I just feel like
honestly,
the metal's so thin. I'm like,
well, I mean, I don't think they're any thinner than the Sig one that you have. Like
I think they're a little thinner.
Feel similar.
Yeah.
but
then I put the Holosun EPS carry on it with the green dot, and it's also really nice. So, and it was right out of the box. Just put it on, and it was pretty close to being zeroed. I just had to make a couple of small adjustments to it, and it was.
Now, when you sight it in, what do you do to sight it?
Well, when I first get out there, I put it on. I already put it on the gun at home. Then I get out there, I go to like 3 to 5 yards, and then I just try to tear the center out of the bullseye to see how close it is there, and then I'll kind of get it. If it's somewhat close there, then I just go back to 10, and I'd use 3 to 4 rounds at 10 yards, and then make small adjustments.
Do you generally
Until I like it.
co-witness your red dot or your green dot with your irons, or is it like offset high a little bit?
When it came out of the box, it was right on co-witness with it, which was, I mean, that's a good place to start, I think.
Yeah.
If you're going to go out there, just co-witness it with your irons, but don't leave it like that. You got to go out and check it out.
Make sure that it works. Because I know, like mine, I have my dot is ever so slightly above my irons, but I run just a single dot, not the circle with the dot.
That one's just the single dot too. I have one. I haven't trained with the one with. I always use all my guns have the single dot, but I have one Holosun that does the circle with a dot, and I just changed it to that to try it out to see if I like it.
I'd be curious because like generally, I have the 507K, I think is what I have on the Shadow Systems, and that has the dot is 2 MOA, and the circle I think is something like 32 MOA. And so I'd wondered if you co-witnessed your dot with your irons and then put your circle up, like theoretically your circle would get you on target, and then you could align with your irons.
I think the cool thing about the big dot is it's easier to acquire the dot if you're new,
Yes.
because the big circle pops up and you can adjust the gun as you want. Another cool thing is depending on where you zero your dot at. Same with rifles. That's why I like the EOTechs. So it has the circle, then there's like 4 notches around the circle, and then the dot in the middle. So obviously there's an offset when you get closer with a rifle for headshots. So the cool thing about that is you just put that bottom hash that's in the circle on the head, and you don't have to adjust for the offset for the dot. Same thing with a pistol, because if you zero at 10 when you're close to 3 yards, you're going to be shooting low. So if you aim, you have to aim high to shoot low. So if you use that bottom hash up close, then you'll be right in the spot where you need it. That's one neat thing about those.
So speaking of, if you're new, do you want to explain for who doesn't know what co-witness is? Because you guys were rambling about it.
I said, so the co-witness is basically the dot is the same, basically on the same plane as the iron sight. So when you have the sights lined up like you're supposed to, the dot's like right in the middle of the front sight.
And so like you can have like some optics. So like the gun that Chris got, other guns that come milled from the factory, generally you don't need to put a plate on, like an adapter plate for your optic. So you can set the optic straight up in there. And what that means is that the actual structure of the optic sits below the alignment of the iron sights that are on your gun. So like if your red dot died, like you have no battery, your iron sights are still visible through the optic, where some of them, if you have them milled or if you have one that's set for a RMS, which I think is Trijicon footprint, like they have different thread holes. So if you want to put like a Holosun on something that's milled for a Trijicon, there's an adapter plate that you put on that screws into the Trijicon holes, and then it raises it up. So at that point, then your iron sights, your iron sights are no longer aligned or co-witness. So then you either have to say fuck it, or you can get, most of them are called like suppressor sights, and those sit up higher, and then those will generally be aligned. But it's great to have them co-witnessed and aligned. So like if something happens to your optic, you have the ability to see through your iron sights.
And also, if you're new, maybe work your iron sights a little bit, I think, before you get into an optic.
That is true.
I think anyway, just so you're used to like a bare bones gun, you can go out there and handle.
I always when I buy those guns that are already cut though, because my 19 is an MOS, which means that it's got a whole bunch of adapter plates that come with it, and never use the Glock adapter plates because they're garbage. Always buy the aftermarket ones, and I had to buy a different plate for the optic I wanted. But now the guns that they make, usually they're cut for a certain optic, and all of the optic companies make one. Like if you type in Legion, what optics fit the Legion, it'll pop up with all the ones that fit on there that you don't need a plate for. And that's what I like to go with, because there's plenty of
3 different footprints. That are
there's plenty of options that you can pick, even off the ones that will match up to your gun. So that way you don't have to put a plate on there. But if you really want an adapter plate, or if you really want a different optic, The adapter plate, I think CRKT, I think is what it is, makes the best ones out there. Yeah. And offset, I'm talking about like your barrel sits below your sight. So if you're close, right, you're going to have the offset there because your sight's above your barrel. So you have to adjust for that when you're really close, when you're trying to be on target close. That's the offset I'm talking about. That just comes with training, though. You get closer and further away. You know what your zero's at. You know where you got to aim. If you want to hit where you want to hit, stuff like that.
You want to give them a basic what MOA stands for? I don't know that everybody knows.
Moment of.
Is it moment or minute?
Minute of angle.
Minute of angle. So it's basically how close your rounds are together.
I always get it mixed up.
Yeah. So like if you have a red dot and it has a 2 MOA, there's a given distance. I don't know what it is. Let's say 25 yards or something. At 2 MOA, what that says is if you have the dot on the exact same spot, you would expect every round to be in a 2-inch circle, right? So 1 MOA is a more precise dot, and it doesn't necessarily depend on the physical size of the dot of the optic. It's more driven on the accuracy of that optic, right? So if you have that 32 MOA, it's a relatively small circle, but with that's 32 inches. The 32-inch diameter, right? So if you think about, I'm just going to put the circle on there, and then if I want to shoot somebody, I'm going to put that circle on their chest. Well, most people are not 32 inches wide.
No.
It is minute of angle, and it says that 1 MOA spreads about 1 inch per 100 yards. So 1 MOA is a different size at different distance. 8 inches at 800 yards is still just 1 MOA. So you always have to adjust for how far out you are.
There's your info for that. Have you ever watched when those guys talk about like long range shooting and those sniper shots where they're
talking about the curvature of the earth and the humidity and everything?
Yeah, not the Coriolis effect. But no, where when they're like scouting out distances, they'll be like, okay, at this distance, here's a stop sign. A stop sign is this big, and it's this big at this distance. So that means this is this far away from this. Or like, oh, that's this car, and they have a 15-inch rim. So at this distance, this 15-inch rim is this big, so I can use that to
determine like what
how far away something is.
How far?
Yeah.
And they can. That's fucking crazy when you look at and they just start whipping all that shit out, and then they like formulate it out. That's impressive.
Yeah, that distance shooting's wild.
And then you're talking at like 1,000 yards or better, and now you take your MOA, and that starts to get way different.
Mm-hmm. Like my brother did that like distance shooting thing, and like he stayed for like the big calibers. And there were some guys that had like thermal guns for their barrel so that they knew what temperature their barrel was because that affected the trajectory and how well the bullet came out of the gun.
I know when they were doing those longest sniper shots in history, those Canadian guys that had it, they switched to American ammo and they would set the magazines in the sun so it would heat up the ammo and basically have a faster burn rate or something, whatever, and then
yeah, because it's gonna burn faster at a warmer temperature.
And
so if it's cold, then you just leave it sit outside. So they'll either set it out in the sun to try and warm it up, or like they'll keep it in a jacket pocket to like keep it warm because it affects how fast the powder burns, which affects the speed of the bullet coming out of the gun. So you get pretty finicky like on that.
Yeah, and then you have the Coriolis effect, which is, if nobody knows, that's like the movement of the Earth. You're shooting where it's going, not where it was. Because when you're in air that long, it's like when you fly. Was it when you go west, you have to go up to come down? And if you go east, you go down to go up?
Great circle, so that's like a path around a globe.
But it's still because of the rotation, right? So you have to adjust for where you're... It's where it's going to be, not where it's at. Because I think it's if you shoot west to east, you have to aim high to go low, and it's the opposite if you're going the other way. Yeah. Just because the bullet's in air that long, like a plane, it's in there that long that the Earth has actually moved from where it was at in its rotation. That's impressive.
I think the Earth turns like 1,000 miles an hour or something.
Yes.
I know. I learned it from Mark Wahlberg on Shooter.
True.
It must be true.
Good movie.
Yeah.
But that Coriolis effect is true, though.
It's a great movie, though.
Yeah.
It is a good movie.
But yeah, so when you get into those things, and that's where
Bobby Lee Swaggart.
all that comes into play. So yeah, if you're ever going to get into long range shooting, there's not that. Well, I think at the mile shot, I think it still affects it. I can't remember what yardage you're out, but I think at a mile it starts to affect it. That's
Yeah.
Circulating air is deflected toward the right in the northern hemisphere and toward the left in the southern hemisphere. This deflection is called the Coriolis effect.
yeah.
So like at 1,700 yards, you have to start.
It says in simple terms, the Coriolis effect makes things like planes or currents of air traveling long distances around the Earth appear to move at a curve, as opposed to a straight line.
There you go.
So like a 1,000-yard shot, you're gonna have to account for the curvature of the Earth.
That's wild. I mean, if you really think about it, you're shooting something that's in air that long.
What's the longest shot? What did the Canadians hit?
They did 1.5 miles, but I think, and that was with a Macmillan 50, that TAC 50.
Isn't
but
there
I think
a 2-mile shot?
somebody did a longer one, and I think that was with like a 338 Lapua.
I think so.
But that one, the Canadian one, that 1.5 miles, they shot like down through a canyon with like 3 different crosswinds. And it took them 3 shots, and they hit the guy in the head.
This is an actual KIA in war.
Which one's that one?
This is 2.36 miles. The longest recorded sniper shot was made by
A fucking battleship?
Vyacheslav Kavalinsky of Ukraine in November of 23 when he killed a Russian officer from a distance of 2.36 miles.
Was there anybody there to confirm that? I think you'd have to be shooting.
This guy was a 58-year-old former businessman and award-winning long-distance competitive shooter. Joined the Ukrainian security service as a sniper in 2022.
Is he that guy that was shooting in the Olympics with no gear on?
The previous record.
That guy's pretty cool.
Like a Ukrainian guy just like, fuck
He's
it.
from Turkey, I think.
Oh,
The previous record holder was Canadian Special Forces sniper who killed a target in Iraq at a distance of 2.19 miles.
oh, that was even. I wonder if different than I had seen.
Maybe it's just the longest.
There's a cool documentary out there called like In the Crosshairs, and I think it was on History Channel, but you can watch it on YouTube, and it's all the greatest sniper shots in history. And there's some pretty impressive
There was a
ones.
Navy admiral who was a long distance competitive shooter who has like the longest battleship kill. So he would he transferred competitive shooting like strategy into firing 16-inch artillery off of a battleship to shoot a, I want to say like Korean. I don't think it was World War II. I think it was post. But from like 26 miles, 30 miles away, hit it 32 times out of 32 shots with 16-inch guns from a boat in the ocean, rocking up and down.
It looks like the record is 4.4 miles for a shot.
That's got to be
Like
like
I could shoot a gun 4 miles. Do I have to hit anything?
In September of 2022, a group of friends in Wyoming set the world record for the longest rifle shot at 4.4 miles. The group had been preparing for the shot since 2020 and had to consider many factors, including the temperature and altitude of each square foot.
And luck.
So they had to have shot. They had to shoot from high to low
It's like 21,000.
because I don't think you have enough ground. You're going to lose your drop on your bullet's going to
That's
kill
a
you.
21,000 feet. This is a 7,000 yard shot.
Yeah, I would assume you got to shoot from high to low because even that one that I saw, the Canadian one, they were shooting down through a ravine because otherwise, if you're just going to shoot straight across land,
You'd have to be so far above it. Well, what's
You-
it like
you're gonna
3
be
or 5
lobbing
miles
it?
is all you
Yeah,
can see out
you'd have to
there.
like lob it.
7,774 yards is what they...
because your
It's the
trajectory's got
farthest
to.
you can see over horizon on like the ocean. It's not very
And
far.
it was
It's
a
like 3 to 5
Macmillan TAC
miles.
50.
Oh, yeah. Those things weigh like 1 million pounds too.
But if you want to shoot people you can't see, apparently that's the gun you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I would assume. I
I
would.
wonder what the optic is they have.
Yeah, right.
50 by 100.
And how many chances did? How
They're
many?
using a fucking telescope.
And how many? What was that on Back to the Future? He has that scope, but it's like a telescope, and he pulls it out. He's got on that rifle. Yeah, I would. I mean, yeah. I just. How do you lob that out that far? I mean, you would have to be like
Math.
You would have to be pointing up in the air,
You wouldn't be pointed at the target.
and then said, like I said, unless you're shooting from up high down through like a ravine.
It was their 69th shot.
And that's still 4
Yeah.
miles. I mean, I guess if there's no rules on how many shots you can take.
Did they shoot a sparrow off a tree branch?
I'm trying to see what they...
You got anything new, Matt? You haven't bought any guns for a while, have you?
No, but I did buy a membership to the Admirals Club for American Airlines, which is fucking money.
That's pretty similar to a new gun, I guess.
I'd fucking highly recommend that. It's great.
Okay, so no on the gun thing then.
No.
Tanner has like one gun.
No, I have 5.
Do you keep them in your wife's truck?
No. Keep my gun safe.
Oh, what's your gun of choice?
Right here.
365.
Legion.
No. Well, the P365.
The XL or
That one does jump. Huh?
the 365 XL or the 365?
365. It's a little baby. It doesn't fit my hand very well, but it works.
There is so much aftermarket stuff. All you need is that fire control group, and you
Yeah.
can buy frames, you can buy slides, you can. There's so much stuff out there for.
Yeah,
those.
there's a shit
So
ton.
you could really.
Sig is really. They're very impressed with all of their.
Oh, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
No.
They're very
But I think
proud.
when
They're
they
very
won-
proud of their things.
They're
When
very
they
proud of their
won
things.
that government contract with the Spear, like their popularity shot through the roof.
That spear is so fucking ridiculously expensive. It's like a scar.
They also have, don't they have? Didn't they win the contract for the Army now? And it's a different caliber. It's like a 6 point.
Yeah, they did.
There's a
change-
6.8
they did
or
change
something like
it
that, or
something.
6.2.
Yeah, it's like I thought it's 6.8 because
I
it's
think
not a
you're right.
Creedmoor. Because I thought it was like, oh, it's a Creedmoor, but it's not a Creedmoor. It's something different. And they were also experimenting with polycarbonate casing. So rather than like your brass casing,
Yes, because it makes it lighter to carry the gun through. Because that was even the big thing with the Barretts. They were trying to get them so much lighter to carry because those guys are carrying 18 to 20 pound fucking rifles, fucking hiking through the mountains.
plus fucking 60 pounds of ammo.
Yeah.
I found the
one belt.
specs for the rifle. Cartridge .416 Barrett, and it was a 40-inch barrel with a 1-9 twist.
Hold on. So they weren't even shooting a 50,
It's Action's Macmillan TAC 50.
but it was a .416. That's their other.
Yeah, .416 Barrett.
So that's a different caliber than the 50.
And then the muzzle brake was a Terminator T6. Scope mount.
Not even a T1000. Fucking loser.
Scope was a Vortex Razor 6 by 35 by 56.
That's
it.
not very. They must have had a
Well,
mag. they have
35 by 56 is.
Yeah, EBR-7D MOA reticle.
First field of view.
Yeah, it's crazy. 40.
Which those are
barrel.
cool. Those are cool too. Those first first field of view and second field of view, where you can zoom in and then it doesn't really change.
Yeah, it all depends on what you're trying to. I just watched somebody talking about that.
So
They have the two lenses, right? I believe.
so first isn't first field of view. It's small, and as you zoom in, or as you magnify your scope, it doesn't change. You don't have to change anything because it actually changes the size.
And the other one is it actually changes the size of the reticle.
Yeah, the
as you-
reticle.
as you zoom in or out. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean, they all have their place, but I think I would rather the reticle always be the known value. You know what I mean? Whether it's far out or close. Then if you get one of those, that's going to be the next purchase, I think. I'm going to get one of those 1:6 optics and start messing around with.
didn't you just pick up a 1:6?
I got a 1:8, and I'm glad I went.
That was the
8.
Sig one, or what was that one?
That was the Sig Tango MSR.
Tango and Cash, Stallone.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I looked at the 1:6 and opted to go with the 1:8, and I'm glad I went with the 1:8.
And if you're looking for scopes out there, especially like in the beginning, you don't have to spend like thousands of dollars. Vortex makes some super nice.
Just tape some binoculars on.
Yeah,
Vortex makes some really expensive stuff too.
but they make some good like entry level scopes that are
I think Primary Arms has a lot of good, cheaper scopes.
like you don't. I know there's the saying where whatever you spend on your gun, you probably spent double on the glass for it. But if you're gonna do some long range, but if you're just getting into it, Vortex makes some nice longer range scopes for I think $300 to $500. You can get into one.
Yeah.
You don't need to jump into like a Leopold, like what is it, Mark IV? That's like $5,000 or something like that. So
Yeah, I mean, why not?
That's fine.
Yeah, and then we'll spray paint it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Throw some FDE on it. All right, now we're blended in. All right, let me throw some hay on it too.
We're blended in, so I'm sitting on this shooting bench, fucking working my distances, like nobody can see me. But yeah, so Matt didn't buy a new gun. Chris did.
Brett always buys new guns, but
I
never
haven't had one
should.
for a while. I'm trying to think the last one I
I
bought.
think because you bought them all.
What's the last one you shot?
Man, was that at your house with Father Ross? Mm-hmm. Oh, my AP5M with the binary trigger.
With the binary, that was
super fun.
That was really fun.
Yeah, that'll just dump the ammunitions out of it.
Yeah, you want to just shit money, shoot that thing or the barrel.
Yeah. We shot that, and then we shot one with Prodigy, maybe.
No.
We didn't bring the Prodigy. I can't remember what I shot.
We shot Father Ross AK.
We did shoot that. Your shoulder was fucked up and you were shooting that AK. Yeah.
That was unpleasant.
So that was last year.
Yep.
Yeah. Ready? Tanner, it's Tanner's turn to buy again.
All right.
Yeah. That was that. Yeah. All right.
What would you like to get, Tanner, that you don't have?
I have no idea.
A truck.
A pike. Fuck off.
Do you have
I like my Explorer.
Do you have any kind of rifle?
Yeah, I have a Daniel Defense.
308 or 5.56?
5.56.
A 16.
What?
5.56.
16-inch barrel.
Yep.
Yeah, shorter than 16 on a 5.56. It's like meh.
I
They also get obnoxiously loud.
I've never. Do you guys hunt? Are you guys hunters?
The grocery store, I fucking crush it, dude. I just get
Yeah.
in there.
Well, I
get out.
know Brett isn't. Do you hunt?
I used to hunt. I don't hunt. I haven't hunted in a long time.
I kind of want to get into it.
I only hunted birds though, never like deer or anything.
Amber
ducks
wants to
and
fucking bow hunt a
pheasants.
turkey.
Yeah.
I want to hunt a
Sit in
deer.
my front yard.
We were shooting the fucking our
Seven
we were
of
shooting our 3D turkey last weekend.
You want to hunt a deer?
Yeah.
So then you need to buy a hunting rifle.
Right.
Or you could just use your AR.
You already got like a 45?
No.
Oh.
I was looking at 19.
A 50?
But I was looking at one, but yeah, I'm kind of cheap. You know this. So every time I go, I like.
I want you to get a 45-70 and go deer hunting with it.
Okay.
What kind of optic do you get on the Daniel Defense? You use
A Vortex.
A Vortex optic?
So not a red dot, you have a scope?
No.
They make a red dot.
No, I know. I just didn't know. I just assumed.
Oh.
I just assumed scope, but
Yeah.
Did you go sighted in?
Nah, not well. It's not sighted in far enough.
like, can you hit the broadside of a barn with it, or is it?
Yeah, it's just
okay,
not sighted.
well, that's good.
It's not sighted in far enough. Is it? Where do you want to sight that in? Like at 100?
It just depends on. I do 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50, then reset.
Like
the
it was
scope cap.
sighted in at 25 just because I sighted in a range because it was
No.
not in the wintertime. So
Well, you can buy targets that
right.
you can.
Yeah, but how
that-
accurate do you think those targets are?
They're pretty close. The
Well,
ones
it's
that-
math.
Yeah, basically the bullet drop.
Get out of here with your fucking math.
No, like they have
Like you
the-
aim for this target and you're hitting here, and then you're.
yeah.
That's how it does it with the
Guy that's
yeah.
way smarter than me was telling me like
Yeah.
if you want to if you're here you need to be
Yeah.
if you're hitting here then you're sighted in.
Because you set it at 25 yards and then you shoot. It tells you,
I think
okay,
the
if you're
trick
at 25
that-
yards, aim here, shoot here. Then you're
I think the
good.
trick a lot of people forget is they get theirs, like, they have a scope, they get it dialed in, and then they don't, like, reset the scope cap to 0. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, once you get it sighted in, you pull your scope cap, and you have to, like, usually have to take those thumb screws out and set it back to 0. So your basically scope is zeroed, and then whichever dope you put on it, either way, you can always go back to 0.
Oh, you're. I like.
Oh,
I
if
don't
you're
do
going to
the-
adjust it after you sight
Yeah, like once you sight it in, you have to take the scope cap. There's usually
Yeah,
thumb
if you're
screws.
gonna
You have
do,
to
like,
reset
some
the
real
scope cap to
distance.
0. And I think a lot of people don't do that. They just like get it sighted in. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to click it around from here. You should put it back to 0.
So you know where it's at.
So whenever you adjust later, you can turn whichever clicks you're going to turn, and then you can always go back to 0.
Did you buy it from 88 or something, and then they helped you do it, or
Shields.
Shields?
Did you sight it in there on the main floor?
Yep.
Cool.
Just like the guy
I'm actually
from-
surprised they
just
don't
like
have
the-
a range.
Just like the comedian that was talking about
Yeah.
Shields. Just-
I can't touch a cell phone, but I can just carry my fucking gun out of the store.
A couple
That's the only place I've seen people open carry.
at Shields.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody open carry in there.
I've
I
seen them
haven't
at
either.
Cabela's. I've seen one.
Just fucking tool bags on legs.
It seems like a lot of people are having way better experiences buying guns at Shields than at Cabela's, though. I've heard a couple bad stories recently from.
I've
people
heard a
buying guns
couple
at Cabela's.
people like go to Cabela's and they just think that they're all arrogant fucks.
Yeah, there's.
I ran into a few guys there that were.
Yeah.
If you want, here's a tip: if you're out there and you work at one of these places and you want to sell guns, don't talk shit about the gun somebody's trying to buy,
Well,
unless they ask you like a specific opinion.
but here's the thing. The problem is that if you tell someone that something they bought sucks, you just told them to make shitty decisions. Right?
Yeah,
So like even if someone is simple as, hey, I take this protein.
That's
and
good
it's not-
protein, but this protein's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I just talk about why, like, I don't say anything bad about it. I just say what's good about, you know what I mean? Like you got to be really careful when you're selling shit.
yeah. Well, that's why I hate Glock people. I was buying a Springfield. The
That's
guy's
true.
like, well, this isn't a Glock, so I wouldn't buy it. And I was
There's
like,
Glock people and there's people that own Glocks. Glock
yeah,
people are.
I didn't ask you what you thought was better. I wasn't like, oh man,
But that's true with
I like Glocks, so
and that's fine.
I'm not I'm not much of a hater on other guns. I'm a hater
I
on
think Glocks are
Springfield.
fucking awesome. Like,
Oh, did you
if
ever
you want a
shoot
gun that's
Echelon?
always going to work, get a Glock.
I went to that Echelon. It felt pretty comfortable.
I've never. No, you need to buy one so you
Buy
can
one.
hold on to it.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's your turn to buy a gun.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean 5 to 1.
I bought 2 early this year.
Yeah, how many?
Hey, this dude lives on an acreage. And how long did it take you to shoot those fucking guns? And he shot them more not at his house.
I've been shooting them a bunch now. I've been murdering raccoons.
Well, yeah. With a 300 blackout, just fucking raping raccoons' faces.
Fucking blowing spines out with this thing. I was shooting them with a 22, and I was like, this isn't that
I'm over here being conservative with a BB gun, shooting fucking sparrows, and Matt's just ripping animals in half with a 300 blackout.
fucking
Matt doesn't
10-30.
live in town.
Just
It's not like you
murdered
can just blow birds away in your backyard.
Fucking hate
Yeah, it was great. I'm tempted.
no suppressor. He's on there at 10 o'clock at night, just fucking ripping raccoons down.
I'm gonna use a 30-06 on the next one. Just completely explode it.
Are they trying to eat your chickens?
Yeah.
That's
they're
right.
just
Fuck 'em
fucking
up.
They're just fucking with the pen, and so they come down and they like look for food and they eat scraps. So they don't necessarily mess with the coop itself, but like them being down there and shitting and leaving their scent, like stresses the chickens out, and so they're just not as happy because there's like other stuff there.
You just shoot a couple of them, like hang them around, just so
Tried
that
that.
everybody else knows.
Possums are the one I feel bad about because like I literally just walked up to a possum and he just sat in this tree just staring at me, and I was like, dude, go get away.
Yeah, we had one in
He
our
didn't do anything. I was
backyard.
like, sorry, man.
You're dead.
Yeah.
We had one in our backyard, and he was just fucking frozen solid until we went inside. Mm-hmm. I tried to scare him, and he didn't leave.
Nope.
Well,
Little guy.
Our neighbor got on his trail cam, got a picture of 2 different bobcats creeping around.
you gonna go hunt him? Can you shoot a bobcat?
Just don't tell anyone. Self-defense.
It's coming right for me.
Yep. It had a gun. It's fine.
You shot it in the back. Well,
Well, I shot. It jumped. Stuff happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got any else words of wisdom on the guns here?
No. Get out there and train.
Standard's turn to buy a gun. Everybody keep notes of that.
Okay.
True.
What should I get?
I don't. Something good.
Okay.
You know what? You should buy like a
probably ask
fucking.
Chris.
You should buy either a staccato or a Terran Tactical so we can shoot it and see what it's like.
You're a dick.
Josh
This
has a
is-
staccato, and it's nice.
Yeah. So
I
get a
don't
Terran
think it's
Tactical. He'll bring
that-
his staccato. You bring the Terran Tactical. What's the Terran Tactical cost? Like $3,000 or $5,000 for that one?
5 probably.
Oh my! It's ridiculous.
What's
how
that
much
one,
this gun
called?
costs.
Um,
The Combat Master.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask Chris. I'm gonna
It's like a
ask Chris advice.
$7,000
Chris
gun.
seems a little bit more.
Yeah, he's gonna tell you a fucking
Practical.
Terran Tactical.
Terran Tactical.
Don't you fucking tell him different either.
Don't you do it?
There was one I saw, I think it was staccato, that the iron sight was actually affixed to the barrel. So like the slide has like a split in it. So the front of the barrel is exposed. So as the slide recoils, the barrel is going to stay straight, but your front sight stays on the barrel. So though it's not going to move with the slide action.
We'd hope for that kind of money. It did a lot of things.
I
The
mean,
only
it
thing
was
about
$4,800.
those fancy 2011s is they're not drop safe.
Yep.
That Grantham did a whole video on it, dropping expensive guns, and they all went off with a round of the expensive ones all went off with a round in the chamber. But just don't drop it.
Yeah.
I think if it was, if I remember correctly, he would put a round in, and he would drop the hammer back, but not put the safety on and drop it, and it would go off. But if the safety was on, it wouldn't go off.
But you take the safety off and you put the decocker on.
I mean,
Who wants a safety?
so
That's why I have a
So
strike.
those decockers were so weird. I had a Beretta with one, and the first few times I was just like,
You're like,
click, running it back. I was like, that's weird. Because it rolls back and the hammer fucking strikes, and you're like, hey.
all right.
yeah. So I just get like a striker fire. I don't want a safety on there. I don't want anything to stop me from shooting something.
Fingers.
This is my safety.
Delta wants to wear Oakleys. So that's their business. What movie?
Is that Predator?
No, it's Black Hawk Down.
He's fucking movie quote guy.
He's got a lot of them.
He's got all of them. All that brain space is taken up by movie quotes
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
and gun shit.
Yeah.
And then it's over.
All right, guys, go out there, buy guns, educate yourself, get better with them, stay strapped or get clapped, right?
That's right.
It's the only way to live. Appreciate you guys listening. Like, subscribe, share, follow. Try to be a little less shitty every day. We'll see you next time.